welcome to the Gaming Coop, the best space to talk about spooky but also sexy characters. Let's introduce today's players. Oh. Player 1. In Paper Mario Sticker Stars, our next host beat Mario yet again, this time by using his superior knowledge about stickers to make them do things they were not supposed to do. It's Chris. It's a terrible game, but I appreciate it. Player 2 will convince anyone to sit on a mimic. It's Anthony.
What? Oh, I see.
Player 3 shines bright like Discord light mode. It's Kelsey.
Oh, come on! God!
Player 4, Youngtown. It's Matt.
Hello.
Player 5, this grung has smoker's lung, but Sloppy Toppy from a toothless froggy is too powerful. It's Walsh.
Oh.
And player 6, oh, look at that. I've been impaled. It's Gabe.
It sounds like something Gabe would say.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is it that's Frozen, right?
Correct.
Yeah, it's Olaf, but like the more...
That's
like,
Olaf,
it's
right.
Gabe!
It's Gabe. Yes. It's Frozen Gabe. It's his little the popsicle drawing that Malachi made.
Shout out to Malachi.
Shout out to Malachi. Welcome everyone. It's Halloween.
Woo!
It's October. It's an October-y themed gaming coop. We've done spooky games for a few years now, but I figured let's change it up. Let's talk about specific characters that we found to be extra spooky. Excuse me, because I realized I was gonna take a drink after I was done, but I realized I'm first, so that's not ideal.
You're allowed to drink if you need to.
And that's true.
Yeah, I'm fucking wasted.
I can edit. Hold on, I can edit this.
But you also can we can fill in the time. Like it's okay. You can take a sip of water.
All
Time
right,
at 54.
Welcome to the Gaming Coop.
I didn't even have time. That is open, and I just clapped, just hoping. I linked it up. All right. Anyways, let's talk about everyone's gaming daddy, Bowser. All right, because we're like I said, it's spooky, but also sexy characters. But Bowser,
hold on. I'm surprised that you are the first person to say that on this podcast.
Because I'm playing into all of your.
Yeah, I don't know if that's like a personal opinion
Chris,
so much as he's
That's
leaning
fair.
in.
I retract.
Yeah,
you know what? No, everybody shame Chris. Who would even think such a thing?
Yeah, all right. You know what? That's fair. I'll wear this on my sleeve, I guess.
Me?
All right, thanks, Gabe. Appreciate it. You have my back.
Who doesn't?
True. It's true.
Shame everyone who doesn't.
Let's talk Bowser, because Bowser has been a wonderful character. Just one of the best iconic video game villains. Everyone knows him. Jack Black is playing him in the movie, which now this is the first Gaming Coop since that trailer showed up, so we now know. And he's awesome. Jack Black is great.
See, I don't know if Bowser is at face value sexy necessarily, but Jack Black can get it, so like that helps.
It kind of like that's a good way of connecting.
And I say that having married somebody who's often compared to Jack Black, so like I have a type.
But I as Bowser has been great in a lot of Mario games, but they definitely wanted to put him front and center of a new Mario game that I initially was like, oh, it's a new mainline Mario game. I think most people are referring to it as more of a spin-off game. Whatever, I don't really care, because Bowser's Fury is fucking awesome, and let me tell you about it, because essentially, those who know Super Mario Sunshine, or the story of Super Mario Sunshine, you know that it had a lot to do with, what is it, like ink? That like it's like a main thing in Super Mario Sunshine. Is that ink, or is that another goop? It's just goop. You know?
It's ink.
Yeah,
I would count it as ink.
But the inkiness returns in Bowser's Fury, and so does Bowser Jr., who's been in other games, obviously, but this is like his like a big return for him. And he basically gets Mario to show up. I hear rubbing in the background.
Yeah,
Remy, no, it's okay.
I wasn't gonna put it like in the. I just wrote in the thing, "The horn is killing me," because I'm like, I just hear it constantly going, and it's so funny.
Sorry.
No, it's total. I love Remy. Remy gets all excuses. So Bowser Jr., through using his iconic M symbol, basically summons Mario down the see-through tubes, and basically has him arrive in this area called Lake Lapcat. And when you first arrive there, it's raining, and all of a sudden, as you're walking along and you arrive at this broken ship, all of a sudden, you see Bowser, and Bowser is fucking huge, and this is it's bigger than Lady D. He's huge in this game, and he is covered in this black ink, and his head and spikes are basically in flames, and it is fucking terrifying. And the music kicks in with he's there, and he's basically trying to breathe fire on you, and there's stakes coming down from wooden stakes coming down from the sky, and you kind of get through the initial going up onto the ship and collecting your first cat shine, that's the collectathon element of Bowser's Furies, that you're collecting a bunch of these cat shines. And after you do that, you're able to get Bowser to go away. And then Bowser Jr. basically is there to tell you hey, my father is not the way he used to be, which is yeah, no shit, Bowser Jr. Appreciate that. And he's I need your help. Can we figure out a way to save my dad? And so the game loop basically works where you have all these little platforming hub areas that all have a certain set of goals, and at the end of each goal, if you achieve it, you get a cat shine. By the way, everything is fucking Super Mario 3D World, which this game was released with as part of the Switch re-release. Super Mario 3D World introduced the cat suit. Bowser's Fury fucking leaned into cats. This is a cat fucking game. Well, maybe not. It's not a cat fucking game, but it's a cat game.
Whoa.
Hey,
See, here's my problem, guys. Here's my problem. I have a problem with not putting my my curses ahead of the noun. And so I should have said fucking cat game.
No,
cat fucking game. It still doesn't sound great.
Yeah,
but,
I was gonna say, isn't that what you said? It doesn't sound different to me.
Whatever. I shouldn't have cursed. That's the moral.
You
of the story.
potty mouth.
And so, but everything is super cat themed, and it's awesome, and it's a lot of fun. And so you're going through all these platforming areas, and you're listening to the soundtrack, which, again, it's a Mario game, so of course it's a fucking banger soundtrack. And it's while you're walking around in Lake Lapcat, but not necessarily doing the platforming sections, it's very nice and calm, and you're hearing this tune of just being on this tropical area. When you go into the platforming section, it's a little bit more upbeat. It's classic Mario, just hey, welcome to the world, go explore, jump around, all that stuff. And you're doing this, and you're doing these goals, and you're collecting these cat shines, but kind of I want to say it's kind of inspired by Majora's Mask, although I don't think it's really not to the exact extent. But as you are doing these things, no matter what you're doing, how fast you're doing it, whatever, at some point in the game, all of a sudden you're gonna start to see in the center of the island or the world that you are playing in, this basically Bowser's shell slowly rise from out of the ground, out of this inky goop that's in the water, and all of a sudden it's gonna start spinning, and it's gonna start spinning and spinning and spinning, and this is while you're doing platforming, you're still doing other stuff, and then the rain starts pouring, and the music fades out, and you get this sinister all of a sudden this real deep eerie music starts playing, and all of a sudden the shell spins so fast and launches into the sky, and then it goes from day to night, and then Bowser's attacking you. And as you are still in the platforming areas, you're still doing your thing, but now he is fire breathing at you, stakes falling from the sky, like all hell breaks loose. And the music that plays during this part is ridiculous. Like, it's almost comical, because it's basically like, it sounds like heavy metal, like kind of screamo sounding like music. Like, it's so stupid, but it's so good at the same time. And that's the game. You are basically doing all these different like cat shine, like collectathon stuff, but you're also having to deal with this really scary version of Bowser that's gonna attack you kind of out of nowhere, but like just after a certain amount of time, you'll have to face him. Over time, as you collect a bunch of cat shines, it will empower these shrines that are located in the world, and you can once you have enough, you're able to turn into this mega Super Saiyan-esque cat suit that Mario gets put in. And so Mario, as Super Saiyan Cat Mario, is able to then do this.
Are you saying Super Saiyan? What is that? What are you talking about?
Super Saiyan, like what is that from?
Dragon Ball.
Like Dragon Ball.
Oh.
Yeah.
Son Goku.
It's not really Super Saiyan, but that's what I think of, is like the yellow spiky hair that's coming out of the cat.
No, I just always thought it was Super Saiyan. So then I don't know why I thought that, but I was mishearing you. It's fine.
It's just a really intense shade of blue.
Yeah.
But this is like a big what are like the giant creatures called? Like things
Kaiju?
that are more giant. Kaiju. It's basically a giant kaiju battle that begins. And these happen in intervals throughout the game, where you take down Bowser each time, and then he will still show up constantly, and then it takes till the end of the game where you're fighting Mario, or you're fighting Bowser, basically till the end of the game. It's one very, very long Bowser fight, is Bowser's Fury, and it's so fucking good. It is like for someone who loves games where you could just live in the world and have fun, and it's platforming, and it's Mario, like, it's hot take, I guess, but it is like my third favorite Mario game. Like, it is right behind Odyssey and Galaxy 2 for me, of I love being in this world and existing in it. I kind of weirdly love the anxiety of like, oh, Bowser's going to show up at some point. It's just so well done. You can even use Bowser in his like fieriness to like find certain cat shines, because his fire breath unlocks specific or breaks certain blocks that will be hiding cat shines behind them. It's just really, really well done, really, really fun, and like it gets me excited for whatever the next Mario game is, because it definitely felt like this could be like a testing ground for future Marios. But I've talked a lot. I know there's a few people here who have played Bowser's Fury. I would love to hear what your thoughts on it are.
I adore this game as much as you do, Chris. It is like you said, it is just a blast to play. Love the controls, love the whole environment. Obviously, I'm very partial to the cat shine or the cat bell.
Sure.
And I think it's cool how, as you kind of go through things, the same environments kind of change. And you have to attack things in different ways each time, which is kind of cool. And just kind of seeing the world fill out with these new platforming challenges, the more that you played the game, was a really cool aspect, and you could kind of tackle it however you wanted to.
Yeah, it's so creative in that way. Anyone else will comment on Bowser's Fury before I wrap up?
I adored Bowser's Fury as well. Knowing who I am as a person, I am very partial to cats.
Yeah.
But just the design of the game as a whole was so tightly packed. there was only one issue I had is having a run button while also having to control the camera at the same time.
Sure.
Didn't feel the best to me personally, but that's a small issue in the grand scheme of things. Other than that, the game was just phenomenal.
Yeah. The a few things too, like when I say everything is a cat in this game, everything is a cat, including the enemies. Like Goombas, they're cats. The Koopas, they're cats.
Did they say why, or did I miss you saying why?
So it's just kind of what theme they leaned into for this one, because like again, this was packaged with Super Mario 3D World, which introduced the cat suit as like an ability. And so they're, I guess, for this this kind of like spin-off of Super Mario 3D World, they were like, why not we just fucking lean hard into it? And it's really funny because like everything that you think is like the one or two things that you think like, oh, these are the one things that aren't cats, they become cats later in the game. Like it's just it is just so weird but so good.
They even made the cats.
They even made the cats.
Wow,
there's
double
also
cat.
there are actual cats in this game that you can interact with and do certain quests for.
And they do flirt with you.
They do flirt with you.
Like
yes,
cat flirt, or are we going back to
Cat
it being
flirt.
a cat fucking game? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cat flirt. Yeah, cat flirt. I named myself Plessy on Discord because Plessy is basically one of your allies in this game. Plessy is not a cat. Well, maybe later in the game, maybe it might be a cat, but Plessy is like a dinosaur, and I think Plessy had been in. Was Plessy in previous Mario games before Super 3D World?
No, 3D World was there.
3D World,
Introduction.
So 3D World, Plessy was there, but they're such a delightful character because they're basically this world's Yoshi, where you just get on their back and like ride around, but they are waterbound, so they basically let you like swim to all the different islands in a very fast way. You can also do certain challenges with Plessy as well, and they're a delight. It's great, it's wonderful, and I will not spoil it, but the ending to this game has Plessy at the center of it, and it's fucking glorious. I love it so much. What a delightful Mario game, and I really recommend if you love Mario, you love platformers, collectathons, or just, you like the concept of Bowser lurking around the corner ready to pop out at any time, you should check it out. It is a delight. Alright. But yeah, Bowser's fucking scary. So, like, I shat my pants the first time he showed up. It is...
Wow.
It is, it's obviously, like, scary in the way that, like little kids could handle it, but it is daunting, the whole thing. But you know what's even more scary? Some of these League of Legends characters, and both Anthony and Kelsey both have League of Legends in that world, two characters that they want to talk about. Anthony, you're listed here as being the first one to talk about it. How the fuck do you pronounce this name?
So, some pronounce it Xolannis.
Sure.
AKA
sure.
the person that sneakily edited our organizational document to be funny.
Sure. Yeah.
Who would do such a thing?
Yeah.
That's just rude.
Yeah. But actually it's pronounced Xolanni.
Okay. Xolanni.
So roundabout
Tell me
way to
about
get
Xolanni.
to how it's
I'm
pronounced.
sure that they are totally delightful and like very nice to get along with.
Yeah. So I'm going to start with a bit of history lesson because this character is kind of pivotal in League of Legends lore, and they're part of this really rich backstory. And this is not going to be completely accurate, and I'm oversimplifying some things just to not take an hour. But there was this kingdom where they basically sort of worshipped the sun and had these godlike powers, and they had priests who had the power to ascend warriors to a sort of godhood status. And there was a woman who, following in the footsteps of her parents, became a healer. And she was the strongest blood magic healer that Shurima had. And even though she was critical of the war, and the sort of god, son, emperor would not have chosen her for ascension, nonetheless the priests did. And she became somebody who was basically worshipped and was incredibly strong at keeping people alive, and she had a real empathy for people as well. And there reached a point where the god king emperor was going to ascend into his like true form and become very powerful, and somebody very close to him usurped him at the last moment. And the battle and the clash of magic not only destroyed this entire kingdom, but kind of ravaged the world. And now these people who had been ascended, who had become these god warriors, didn't have a purpose anymore. And they felt that the world was now theirs to take by force and be worshipped, and they started to fight against each other. And as they didn't have anybody to lead them, they started to get darker and darker and become more cruel and change their bodies and their forms to become almost recognizable to what they used to be. And Xolanni was one of these people, and her power over blood magic was so strong that she essentially used mind control to try and win her side of the war. And the scary thing is that it wasn't really mind control. It was kind of like blood bending, where she could control the blood in people's bodies to make them act, even if they were aware of what they were doing and didn't want to do it. So eventually all of the god warriors ascended became sealed away in their weapons, so that the realm could return to peace. And Xolanni's weapons are these kind of like sickles on chains, and a order of warriors in Ionia kept it hidden deep in their temple, because the Darkin, now in their weapon forms, could only whisper to people and try to get them to wield them. And as people would wield these Darkin weapons, the Darkin would take over, corrupt them, and then gain form through these people. So now we're going to follow the story of a student named June, or Jun, and she was a student at said school. One day, somebody wielding a Darkin weapon shows up at the school and starts massacring everybody there, because he wants to get the weapon, he wants to take its power, and he wants to destroy Xolanni. June, in a moment of desperation, starts to hear whispers from Xolanni's weapon. And here's the text for this card. As the fighting raged on, June, desperate and badly wounded, turned to the voice whispering in her thoughts. "You will never die," it said, soft as summer rain, "because I will never let you." So June turns to these weapons and decides to wield them in a moment of pure desperation, because everyone she knows is getting slaughtered. And Xolanni completely overtakes her. June is gone, and in her place is this Darkin. And what I especially like about this is that nobody really knows what Xolanni's face is. She had worshippers because they didn't know the full history. They just knew that she was a healer. And she's called the Faceless God because out of spite, another Darkin destroyed the face of her statue. But in this form, she's kind of a corrupted June because she took over June's body. You can see that she has like the same kind of headgear that she had. And her weapons are sort of symbolical because the chains indicate the sort of slavery that she inflicts on her followers to her own ends. And the blood sickles represent her magic as well. So, yeah, I think it's super scary because the idea of a weapon that can kind of sense when you're in trouble, and it's like, I won't let anybody hurt you, and then it takes you over, corrupts you, and then you're just gone, is super scary. And it's kind of funny and ironic that you were like, oh, let's talk about the monsters that we think are hot, because the Runeterra subreddit posted this, which says, one will try to kill you, one will agree to go to the prom with you while their parents look on disapprovingly. Choose wisely.
Is Xolanni like top choice?
Yeah, top comment is, I'll go to the prom with Xolanni. Another person said Xolanni has those if I can't have you, no one can vibes, and fuck it, I'm down for that.
Wow. Yeah, really scary. Really scary idea of like just being possessed by a demon and like not being able to control your body anymore and also just being gone.
And the gameplay flavor of her as well is, in order to play her, you have to pick one of your own allies to kill and have her take their place.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm sorry. Is that that's in Runeterra?
That's
so,
correct,
right?
yeah.
Okay. Because I was going to say, like, if that's, like, actual League, that's kind of fucked up for that one player that has to be like, alright, sorry, kicked out of the lobby.
I'm out.
Fair enough. Alright, anyone have thoughts on Xolanni?
I do not play this character, really. Or so, like, here's the thing. I dabbled in League. I play more Runeterra. But I am, for all of my neurodivergent baddies out there, I hyperfixate on a game for a while, then I forget that it even exists. And then I hyperfixate on characters, and then I forget they even exist. I've never hyperfixated on Xolanni, so I know nothing about her. Yeah, the League of Legends community is very into the scare roused factor of a lot of characters, and it's this one, and Anthony, the one that just recently, not the most recent update, but the one before, where you have the support characters that you have to like essentially consume. The one where the intro was that she's like stepping on you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, right. That one. Yeah, because that was really like the thing that like everybody, it was like the one that steps on you. Everybody was like, because the thing was that the trailer, it's not this one that Anthony's referring to, but again, there's like the scare rouse factor where it's like, how can you make me feel like I'm going to lose my life and come at the same time? Like that's essentially the factor we're working with. Don't even try to make me feel like you're even blinking that I just said that, because that's also entire other parts of different communities. But the one where it was like, step on me, mommy, was because the trailer cut off, that one that Anthony just posted. The trailer cut off like a 0.5 seconds before you would actually be stepped on, and everybody felt so cuckolded and upset about it, where they were like, oh my god, no, how could you? So it's just like a theme. It's an ongoing theme in the community, but strong, powerful, deadly women is like a thing for this franchise.
They have hot monsters. They have hot monsters.
True, yeah. Anthony, would Xolanni be classified as a demon or a human?
She's definitely more demon at this point.
Darkens are demons. They're like kind of almost interchangeable in the phrasing, even though Darkens are specific. But so is she a Darken, or does she utilize Darkens? Because I wasn't clear from when you were speaking.
She is a Darken.
She is.
The Darken are what happened to the Ascended after they became corrupted.
Okay, thank you. Because I have trouble. Sometimes I glaze over with the lore because it's a lot of information. But yeah, so definitely scary. It's a lot. Is this Cho'Gath? What is this?
That is Rek'Sai.
Oh, Rek'Sai, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. I definitely I can definitely see why people are both scared and aroused.
Yeah.
And that's all I'll say on the subject. Sounds like it also could be a name for like a pizzeria.
Or
hey, Xolanni
hey, welcome to Xolanni's, hey.
Or like an
Like a
arthritis medication.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Gabe and you were on the same.
Yeah, it sounds. Oh, yeah, right.
Ask your doctor today about Xolanni.
Yes, 100%.
And your doctor's like, "Isn't she hot?"
Jesus, like I just looking at the pills. Okay, thanks. Kelsey, you also have a League character.
Yeah.
I'm guessing, are they also in Runeterra, or are they just in League?
So, actually, that is something that is a giant sore spot that I will cover.
Awesome. So, talk to me about Fiddlesticks, the Ancient Fear.
Yeah, so, this is actually, I'm glad that we're getting to this type of scary character episode now, because only in recent years did we get a little bit of a rework on Fiddlesticks. Actually, a pretty decent rework where we were able to have a lot of lore filled in for Fiddlesticks, because even though they have been around for, Anthony, they were like a fairly early character for the game, right? For League of Legends.
Very early.
They were intentionally present as kind of having a lot of unknowns. And still, we do not know where Fiddlesticks came from. We do not know their true origin. We do not know what realm they come from, other than the fact that they are a demon and they are something else. They had disappeared for a very long time. We know that they are at least 10,000 years old. But a lot is still unknown. So I'm just gonna like briefly read the snippet that is available on the League of Legends website. To kind of give like a thematic voice to, which is a choice, I said that on purpose, voice to Fiddlesticks, but something has awoken in Runeterra, something ancient, something terrible. The ageless horror known as Fiddlesticks stalks the edges of mortal society, drawn to areas thick with paranoia where it feeds upon terrorized victims. Wielding a jagged scythe, the haggard makeshift creature reaps fear itself, shattering the minds of those unlucky enough to survive in its wake. Beware the sounding of the crow, or the whispering of the shape that appears almost human. Fiddlesticks has returned. And so this kind of concept of Fiddlesticks being this almost a child's story, meant like those things, like almost like the boogeyman stories that were told in our childhood that are meant to make us fearful of the dark or fearful of being alone at night. So, and the reason that this entity is referred to as Fiddlesticks, that is not a name that it chose. It is not its true name. It is merely the name that survived out of child stories that most people refer to it as. It's also known as the Ancient Fear, and also referred to as the Voice Eater in the Freljord, which is a kind of Arctic region of the Runeterra universe. The entire point of Fiddlesticks is that they prey on fear of any sentient being, but mostly humans. The reason that we know that it's any sentient being, and the reason why it's referred to as the Voice Eater, is because all characters that you can play in League of Legends, for the most part, have voice lines as you play them. Fiddlesticks' voice lines are its own articulation of the lines of its victims before it kills them. So Fiddlesticks, more modernly, there might be a couple of things that are like form statements of Fiddlesticks I can't confirm, but for the most part, if you're playing Fiddlesticks, you'll hear in like a very raspy, otherworldly, terrifying voice, he'll say something like, "No, stop," or "I can't see, it's too dark." Like he's saying things that are evidently things that the victim said before he got to them. But he'll also do things like he'll bark. So you know that he like got a dog and he destroyed a dog. Like, so there are things where if you play, and there's like a 5.5-minute video on YouTube that I didn't make everybody watch, but I did just post the link in our media document in case anybody's interested. That is a collection of voice lines that people recreated. It is so creepy and like nerve-wracking to listen, because it quite literally is just voice lines that it's heard either by passing through areas, but mostly by the last things that were said by its victims. So it just repeats. It's just kind of like this demon bodiless mimic. The body of Fiddlesticks is just made up of whatever's lying around. So it's like bits and pieces that allow it to stay mobile, and it will swap out parts of its body as it becomes damaged, and it cannot be killed by ordinary means because it's just made out of whatever, and it frequently will stand and resemble a scarecrow, which is its form that it's most typically associated with, also because it weaponizes hordes of crows in the game, which is why my name is Caw in the chat, because the crow aspect, the thematics of the crows being utilized by this demon scarecrow is a huge part of why I'm drawn to Fiddlesticks. He is absolutely my favorite character in the game. There is no end to how fucking creepy he is, but in like a very entertaining way. Some of the best parts about Fiddlesticks that they put in the game is all League of Legends characters have skins. And this is something that we've spoken about just in conversation before, but two of my favorite skins are, one, there was a Halloween skin where his head is a jack-o'-lantern, and he just looks very scary and very thematically Halloween. But there's another one that he is a birthday clown, like at a kid's birthday party. And the original splash art for this skin included, thank you, Anthony, so that's the jack-o'-lantern one, which I really love. It's very creepy. And then the clown one is one of Anthony's favorites because the original splash art, the true splash art that was released, he's just kind of surrounded by like birthday presents and confetti, and he's very pink, but he's also very terrifying. But the original splash art included a crying child in the corner that they eventually replaced with a pile of packages of presents because I guess it was too much for some people. But just a thoroughly, like, classically scary. We're not talking about something that is like this could be scary. Sometimes people are just afraid of scarecrows. The idea of being alone at night in a field with a scarecrow nearby can make you feel unsettled and scared already. So he's a classically figured, like, scary entity. Like, he's meant to be that way, but he also has this extra level of being a very, very old, very unknown, very mysterious entity that disappeared for a very long time and has all of a sudden reappeared in the shadows, and people have started going missing. And that is like his lore of how he's currently existing, that his story had been around for centuries, but then he went quiet and now he's back and nobody knows why he's back. And that's just kind of the lore that he carries with him. So
nope.
I think I covered everything. Nope. Yeah, he's a big nope for a lot of people, but I fucking love him. And then just to touch on when you said, is he in Runeterra or in League and in Runeterra?
Sure, yeah.
He is not in Runeterra. I am currently boycotting Runeterra, sort of intentionally and sort of also just because, like I said, my hyper obsessions, I'm just not into it right now. But I'm not into it because he's the perfect character to release with a Halloween update, and this is the second year in a row that he has not come to the game. And thematically in the game, there are already support cards that have to do with, like, scythes and crows. So, like, what are you doing? Like, he could easily, people in the community have come up with scenarios of how he would work within the game, of things that you can apply to him, new keywords that you can come up with. He's needed. He is my beloved. I'm very upset. Very upset because he's my favorite, and I'm mad at Runeterra right now for not including him. Because if they're going to bring him out in, like, April, it makes no fucking sense, but fine, whatever. A lot of people in the community feel this way. A lot of people are like, wow. Like, right, Anthony? If they come out with an update and they start showing, like, support cards, and the support card is, like, I don't know, a squirrel baking muffins, they're like, wow, so weird that, like, that Fiddlesticks would be, like, having squirrels be their friends now, but can't wait to see his cards. Like, they, like, come up with shit where they try to fill him in, even though it's evident that he's not coming with the new update, so.
I would, first of all, love the idea of a squirrel baking something as baking muffins. As
there was a really, really cute person who was just unveiled as, like, a Runeterra, the first Runeterra original champion, and she's adorable, and she has, like, little forest creatures that work for her. So I was happy that she arrived, but very not happy that she was not Fiddlesticks.
You also posted that trailer video of Fiddlesticks.
Oh yeah.
Fiddlesticks. And
I didn't talk about that, but you can talk about it.
No, I was just gonna say, because it is like, it's two people sitting at night at a fireplace, and all of a sudden they start to hear things, and one guy turns around, like, one of the people you are seeing from their first person perspective, and they turn to the right, and then they turn back to their friend, and their friend's gone, and it's just their helmet. But, like, I forget specifics of what happens in the video, but ultimately, at some point when the person's running, they turn around and they just see the Fiddlesticks just standing there and just like posed as first, just to stay still as if it's like not a movable object, and all of a sudden it like slowly starts to move in its crackly way, and then it just bulldozes in your direction and it cuts to black, and that shit fucking terrifies me. Like, that is the worst thing you can do to me, is have a monster come at you, you know, like from like a first person angle, and like come at you in like with all of its limbs like flailing and just all creepiness, and it's so fucking scary. It's just I'm not into it. This is a big old no for me.
Yeah, I don't know why I love him so much. Like, I want to protect him like he's a buddy, and I don't know why. Like, I don't know what I've been manipulated. Because from all other perspectives, I should want to run in the other direction, and I'm like, oh, friend. Like, I don't know why I feel that way, but I do.
Yeah, it's fair. It's people's different interpretations of scary characters, I guess.
Just really quick before anybody else comments, I just wanted to talk on, because I did briefly play Fiddlesticks in League of Legends. Just because of the aesthetic, because like I said, I'm obsessed. But he's pretty difficult to play, and he's mostly a jungler, and I just have trouble with any concept that is, what do you mean I can't just kill the other team forever? Like, I have trouble with the concepts of what you're supposed to play in League. I'm not a good team player. His passive is that Fiddlesticks Trinket is replaced by Scarecrow effigies. I think the Trinket is like a little... Isn't that the thing that you place on the ground to see other people around you?
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, okay. Then Terrify, which Fiddlesticks damaging enemies with spells while unseen or targeting an enemy with terrifying activation, strikes the target unit with fear, causing it to flee in the other direction. Bountiful Harvest is that Fiddlesticks drains the health from nearby enemies and deals bonus executing damage at the end of the duration. Reap is when Fiddlesticks slashes an area with its scythe, slowing all enemies and silencing them. And then his ultimate is a Crow Storm, which is quite literally a murder of crows flock wildly around Fiddlesticks and deals damage to whoever's in the area. And the sound and visual of that in game is crazy and terrifying. Like, you'll just be in League of Legends playing, and all of a sudden you hear 1,000 crows start screaming, and you know that you need to run in the other direction. And it's so good. That's all I wanted to add.
Anyone else have anything they'd like to add about Fiddlesticks?
Fiddlesticks is my favorite.
Oh, wow. Because I feel like we have shown you a lot. We have those nights where we just bombard you with all the giant beastie characters and try to see which one makes you horniest. But I'm glad to hear that this is your favorite.
Yeah, I played Jungle Fiddlesticks for a bit, and the best part about his ultimate is it gives you a short teleport. So you're supposed to cast it where you teleport over a wall and scare the shit out of somebody. And you do that to, like, kill the enemy team while they're trying to take an objective, or try and cut off a squishy character who's trying to run away. It's just very on brand and very thematic, and I love it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Crazy, weird, don't love it, hate it, but hey, that very much is in theme, and I definitely love it for this episode specifically, because God, like, that's just fucking terrifying. Like, I just don't want to ever interact with, maybe because it's colorful, maybe the birthday one, and maybe the snow one. But that's about it.
That's part of their Christmas line that they sometimes come out with. This one's called Dark Candy, and it was all like peppermint and Christmas candy themed.
Yeah, I'm into that. I'm into that, maybe.
I mean, he's still, I think, Anthony,
terrifying. When
you have skins like this, does it also change the visual of the ults and everything?
Yeah.
So that's cool too. Like, I appreciate that Runeterra does that as well, because you know, that means that instead of like crows, he'll have like sugar plums flying around or some shit. Like, I don't know what he does, but I think Gabe will appreciate this one the most. It's the Praetorian Fiddlesticks, and it's like a sentient robotic Fiddlesticks.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Did somebody say Praetorium? That one's for Ace out there if Ace is listening.
Shout out to Ace.
Shout out to Ace. Shout out to Ace.
I just want to also add that my favorite voice line of Fiddlesticks is, "See, it's just a scarecrow."
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah,
thank you for bringing that one up.
Amazing.
Yeah, the voice lines are really worth it's literally 5.5 minutes, and you can just have it on with whatever else you're doing in the background. But they are so good and very they always inspire me to want to write a scary story. They're very good.
I will opt not to do it because fuck that shit. I don't want nightmares, but I appreciate it. I appreciate it that for anyone that is interested.
Is it genuinely freaking you out that bad, or is it
It kind of is. Yeah.
Okay.
This is one of those. Not we have to stop talking about it.
No, it's okay. I wasn't going to.
But it was.
I'm just kidding.
It was just in a way of those are the it's because I remember just growing up having dreams of things coming at me in that way, and that the idea of that creepily a creepy charging monster coming right at you is just sends me. It absolutely makes me just poop everywhere. Just
poop everywhere.
Yeah, not great.
Oh my god.
Well, you know what?
We
don't have to worry about. Well,
sorry, I was just gonna say within the perspective of when League was dropped, League is cited as being a game that came out in 2009, and Fiddlesticks is shown as also coming out in 2009. I'm a little bit confused about the release dates within the months because that doesn't really make sense or add up. But so he's one of the earliest characters in the game.
Sure.
So he's been around for a long time, terrifying people.
Well, you know what else makes me poop everywhere? Walsh's mid-segs.
Woo!
Walsh makes me poop everywhere.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Happy
Hi, Walsh.
October, and a happy, most likely time after Halloween that you're listening to this. So,
This is a pretty good job getting it out at the end of the month. Give him some credit.
Also, actually,
in the 11th hour though, he stresses me out.
The plan this year, it will be out on Friday. That's what I'm saying right now. I've just worked a schedule around it. We'll see if I go through with it.
Okay. All right. Okay. So for you guys, I have a very special game that you could play at home. What I need everybody here who is on call to do is in a separate tab, or even go to text me on Discord, you guys, and make me a list of 1 through 20. Just numbered 1 through 20. If you have to do it in a separate document or something, go for it. Because I'm going to give you 20 images of...
Yeah, we're going to copy paste this later.
Because I'm going to give you 20 images of characters that I want you guys to be able to name in a certain amount of time. And but it won't be a hard time. I'm just gonna kind of fly with it, so don't stress.
Sure.
And then whoever can name the most amount of characters will be able to win.
Okay. I apologize for my keyboard sounds. I am just making a numbered list at this point.
Yep, I've got my list.
Of course,
keyboard sounds are okay.
Yeah, probably all of my audio up to this point has been keyboard sounds, so you're probably gonna have to shut me the fuck up.
It's all good. All
Is
right.
everybody ready?
I'm ready.
Sure.
Yep.
All right, here's your document with all of the monsters there. And this document link will also be in the episode description as well. So I've taken monsters from a few different sources. Whether they be friends, foes, who knows. And I want you guys to just type out your answers from 1 to 20. And Chris, I will allow you to cut and paste in editing as you please. Is everybody ready? I have my answers in. Christopher, cut back here where I'm being loud. Cool.
Okay.
All right, yeah. Yeah, you better listen. All
yeah,
right.
yeah, I don't know how to move closer.
All right, everybody keep track of your points. You ready?
Yeah.
Sure.
All right, everybody got the first one of Undyne, and then everybody also got the second one. Well, actually, most people got the second one of Pyramid Head. I'm sorry, Kelsey.
Fine.
I was gonna say most of them out loud, but of the wrong answers that you guys wrote.
I thought this was a clan member.
Oh my god.
So write it down.
Number 3, we got the head crab. from that game. Holy shit! Why am I
Half-Life.
blanking?
Half-Life.
Half-Life. Yeah, I was like from Fraction Life. I was what the no, not that word. Everybody got that. Then number 4, we have the Frostbite Spider from Skyrim.
Yes.
Oh, that one
The
specifically.
the name that I use is a frostbite spider. It's just a specific frostbite spider.
That is that's like what I figured. I was like, oh, we're using specific names.
Yeah, because
yeah. So sorry, Matt. It is not the Harry Potter spider.
That's okay.
aw,
Aragog.
And then,
wow, I'm
Fair.
surprised
Fair.
that Gabe knew the name of that one.
Then at number 5, I have Huggy Wuggy from Floppy's Playtime.
Yeah, never.
I've never heard
I've
of that
seen.
in my life.
I've seen the game. I have no idea.
My,
what they're
never
my
played
answer
it.
was don't hug me, I'm scared.
Don't play it. It's not worth it.
Gabe got the answer on that one. Yeah, Matt, you wrote "Don't hug me, I'm scared." Anthony wrote that grabby thing, and then you've got number 6. We have Cerberus from Hades.
I played Hades recently, so yeah.
Also, 3-headed dog.
Yes,
I was like,
That's
it
true.
just pays to know that lore generally.
of course. Some of them, that's you guys.
You're telling me that this didn't originate in the video game Hades?
No, 7. We have Big Daddy, which I think everybody
Yes.
got. At number 8, we have the Witch from Left 4 Dead.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
Matt, it is not the ring but blonde. Anthony wrote. Anthony, can you tell me what you wrote?
For number 9?
Yeah.
For 8.
Oh,
I
sorry,
think.
no, 8. Sorry, no, you had it right. Sorry, number 9. I was looking at the wrong number there. Yeah. So, and then for number 9, we have the Wither from Minecraft. And then, Anthony, can you tell me what you wrote for that one? Number 9?
I wrote Chocolate Lady, and then in parentheses SpongeBob.
Oh, you wrote chocolate. And I was like, what the fuck? I did not even recognize it. At 10, we have a Metroid, or a baby Metroid.
Yeah.
And then at...
I called it brain jelly bitch.
Nope,
I didn't know
not
what it
a
was.
brain jelly bitch. No, Kelsey, the next one is not Jeff Bezos. It is Baldi
He's enemy number 1.
from
Oh,
Baldi's
wait,
Basics.
Fuck! I'm so mad. That's the one I wrote the article on. And I was just like, fuck, how did I not remember Polly?
Oh, time to get to math class.
I wrote teacher from Scary Math Game.
You should get it. You should get it even though you didn't know his name. You knew most of it.
That's fine.
Give yourself the
To
point.
Baldi's Basics.
I'll take the L.
I'll give you a half a point.
Okay, I did not need credit for that, but that's fine.
All right, then at number 12, we have Siren Head.
Woo!
Guys, I never figured out that one.
What is this from? Siren Head?
So Siren Head, while it was originally this piece of artwork that went around a lot of places, it kind of like took fire over the internet, and a lot of people made a lot of indie horror games based on Siren Head.
Anthony, is
okay.
this a Simon? Is he an originator of this?
I don't think so.
Simon Stahlberg? Oh, okay.
I don't remember the
I
name,
know
but
you.
I know he's made a lot of horror art, and people like.
That's why I'm
really
saying that, because
fuck
this guy is very horror art. Like, that's his shtick, so.
At number 13, we have the Octorok.
Woo!
What is this from?
This is
Zelda.
Zelda.
See, again, lack of Zelda knowledge.
That's all right. I would not have known what this was either. When I was putting this together, I was like Zelda monsters, or enemies, stuff like that I was trying to look through.
Yeah.
And then at number 14, we have Chaos.
From what game?
From
Sonic
Sonic.
Adventure.
From the Virtual Ball Boys Football League.
Yeah. It is not.
I thought it was from Splatoon.
Kelsey put see-through Splatoon, bitch.
Question mark?
Number 15, we have Marks from Carbaria.
That's Mark's soul, though.
Sorry, Mark's Soul. Thank you.
Oh, come on, please give it.
Either one.
Give it.
Okay,
take
give me Mark's credit.
Do I get partial credit for microwaved fruit gusher?
No, you do not. I also noticed, too, for the last one, you also wrote Wet Boy in all caps.
What? Who wrote that?
Yeah, he's wet boy.
Wet Boy! And then at number,
Everyone's favorite superhero.
at number 16, we have Starman.
My boy.
Yeah.
It is, Kelsey, I'm sorry, it is not Mercury Gumby Man.
It's in Spider-Man.
I recognize the character. I just could not for the life of me name like what it was or what series.
It's from
it was
the Mother series.
Yeah, that's yeah.
And then
another blind spot.
For number 17, I wanted to throw something the Final Fantasy way. So I have Cactuar.
I'm giving myself credit for this. Because the fact that I even knew where it was from, I get credit.
I am giving you credit for that one.
Thank you.
I'll give you that one.
In our private chat, I told Kelsey that 17 is me after grabbing little chocolates from the living room.
I did not see that until just now.
They're always so stiff and they look like they're running away. And then number 18, you have Tall Neck. Kelsey, I will take the critique that this is not a monster, but
no,
to me,
it's friend.
Yeah, but it's like a big thing that's like whoa. So I thought it was cool.
The monster of Horizon Zero Dawn are the people who wrote the second game.
Oh, of course.
that would be number 18 should have been.
I will give Matt half a point for he wrote Horizon. At number 19, we have Shiva from Mortal Kombat. Which some of you I have written down. I have Goro, but female, which half a point.
Yeah.
Half a point.
Nice.
I will give Anthony half a point for that Goro, but female.
Nice.
Sorry, Matt. It is not four-armed Jill, but Kelsey, you are
Who's Jill?
You are correct. You do get a full point. It is Yes Mommy.
Woo! Thank you. I like four-armed Jill. Just as like, who the fuck is Jill?
Yeah, that's Jill.
The
Like I said,
four-armed
just
one.
name them whoever.
Four-armed Jill. I feel like that deserves 2 points. That's fucking funny.
And last one from Banjo and Kazooie, we have Gruntilda. It is not.
Damn it!
It is not Witch. LOL. Chris, I'll give you half a point for Witch from Banjo Kazooie, and Kelsey, that is no points for Gretchen.
I should get at least a little points for Gretchen. I got the first couple of letters right.
I'll give you half a point for Gretchen.
I have no idea who the fuck this is. I'm taking my half a point, but I just made up the name Gretchen. It's just pure luck that it had any overlap with the actual name of the character.
All right.
She speaks in rhymes.
I've bamboozled
Alright.
you.
How'd you guys do?
I got 18 points.
Wow.
But I think Gabe won.
You weren't keeping track?
No.
Sore spot.
I
sore
got
loser.
12.
Anthony, what'd you get?
14.5.
I got
Fucking nerd.
I got a resounding 11.5. I have to say I'm proud of that. I walk with
That's
my head
good.
high.
That's real good.
I think
That's
I
real
got.
good.
I think I got 15.5.
I think out of
Yeah.
everybody here, I played probably the least amount of these games because I have no idea what the fuck this shit is.
Yeah, looking at all of the the lists, even Gabe, I would give you half a point for Spider instead of
For the-
Frostbite Spider.
For the record, Gabe doesn't need any more points.
Of course, yeah. No, I'm just impressed. I was like, wow, you really blew this away.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
meanwhile, Matt is like, I didn't count my points, but I have one more than Anthony. Like, none of us would notice.
Yeah, what the fuck is that, Matt?
Well, I just went through it, and I went through the ones that I didn't know, and I took those off, and then I added the half point.
Excuse me,
okay.
Mr.
The one that he gave me a
Proctor.
half point for.
Mr. Proctor, he's cheating.
Guys, we've
I did more push-ups
investigated.
than you.
We've investigated ourselves and cleared ourselves of any wrongdoing.
Just fucking call Kelsey out for not like.
When did we have a push-up contest? What is going on?
It's so funny. All right. Anyways,
Someone's
we got to cool down here. We're gonna take a quick commercial break, and then we'll be back to talk a little bit of Hat in Time. We'll be right back after this. Hi everyone, it's Chris, and I'm back once again to tell you all about Anchor. Anchor by Spotify has actually been the tool of choice for Team Chaos Productions since the moment we decided to get into podcasting. And the biggest reason for this is it's the easiest way to make a podcast with everything you need all in one place. Anchor has tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your computer or even your phone. When hosting on Anchor, you can distribute your podcast on listening platforms like Spotify, but also Apple Podcasts and many more. And best of all, Anchor is free. You do not need to worry about any features being locked out to you. You can get it all if you just download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Happy podcasting. I'm Chris.
And I'm Matt, and we're the Virtual Ball Boys.
During the NFL season, we will talk about the games and headlines on everyone's minds. Plus, we give our predictions for the weeks ahead.
In the offseason, we run our own fictional football league with tabletop gameplay mechanics.
Like that, listen to the Virtual Ball Boys on Spotify or wherever you listen to podcasts, and we will see you on the show.
Good night, and good ball.
Hey, we're back.
Welcome to the Gaming Coop.
Yeah.
Bless.
the bet. Well, so we went down a very dark path in the first half. So we're gonna go a little bit to the lighter side of spooky, and we're gonna go. We've talked about Hat in Time on the Coop before. It's me and Matt's among our favorite 3D platformers, but there's one character that is among the standouts in that game. It is Snatcher. Matt, give it to me.
Fool! It's my best Snatcher impression. Snatcher is, like Chris said, one of the standout characters. Probably my second favorite character in the game. Only to, of course, the Conductor. One of the greatest characters ever designed and voice acted in history.
Sure.
But Snatcher's the spooky one, so that's why we're talking about him. So, when you enter the Subcon Forest is the third main area in A Hat in Time, but you do need an item from it to complete the second area. So it really should be the second area, but whatever. The Subcon Forest is a spooky forest. It's a dark forest, very Halloween-y all throughout. There's ghosts everywhere. You have to do tasks for ghosts mostly. But when you show up, Snatcher catches you in a net. And as soon as you, kind of bash and hit your way out of it, he shows up just like he does in the video that I sent, and offers you a deal. He basically, steals your soul. And then offers you a bunch of tasks to get your soul back. And you can really do these tasks in any order you want. It's kind of like a deal where, okay, you complete one, you unlock another, you have, options, kind of like the general order that you want to complete things in, which I really like. I think it's a cool way to kind of go through the level. And then he shows up now and then. He kind of directs you more specifically with some things than others, but he is just a constant presence when you're in the Subcon Forest, and then also becomes the final boss. And the thing I love about Hat in Time boss fights is that they're all very creative. They're rather varied, even though they're all pretty much like you're in a circular arena, and then you have to fight them. That's pretty much the extent, but they all have their own unique attacks and all that. Snatcher's is interesting because he is a ghost, and therefore you can't usually hit him correctly. However, by the time you get to him in the game, you kind of figure out that on bosses especially, if things turn blue, you are able to hit them. So there's some enemies in his boss fight, or I forget what exactly it was, but there's some things in his boss fight that if you throw them at him, it turns him blue. And then, therefore, you can hit him. And there's a part where you do that for the first time, and then he pauses the fight, and the camera zooms in, and he's like, "Did you just throw blue on me?" And it's very funny. And then you kind of do the rest of the fight that way. And he's just he is the perfect cartoony Halloween ghost. He's not creepy by any means. He is very much he's a Halloween happy ghost. He's spooky. He does stuff. Very cool. I also love he is voiced by YouTuber Yuntown, who not a lot of people know about, but he was part of the Normal Boots Hidden Block group for a while, the Space Hamsters and the Cat Icarus and the Peanut Butter Gamers, that group of people. Yeah. So pretty well known, and definitely the best YouTuber to have a voice in this game. JonTron.
Jesus Christ.
Is there subtext here?
We could get into it, but
no, it's very small. JonTron has a very minor voice role.
Yeah,
but he doesn't voice one of the main characters of the game, Snatcher, like Yuntown does, and does expertly. This is one of my favorite vocal performances, especially by an amateur voice actor, someone who's not known for his voice acting. Yuntown is mainly known for his music writing, and makes some great music and remixes. But I fucking love Snatcher. I love the whole subcon forest just works perfectly. He ties it all together so well. And he's just he's a Halloween spooky ghost. What more do you need?
They they also Hand in Time does a very good job of generally speaking, when you talk about these kind of platformers, they don't really have much depth in terms of story, but they do a good job with having backstories for some of these characters. And Matt, you might be more might remember a little bit more of what his backstory was, but it involved him and Queen Vanessa in some capacity.
I do not remember that specific one.
Yeah, all right, never mind. There is something about them falling in love, but then something happened that both of them kind of turned into these evil spirits in some capacity. But you know what? Play the game. You'll find out the full story. Yeah, I love Snatcher. I love this area. It doesn't seem like it should be the one of the bigger areas of the game, but it definitely feels like it because the density of the trees and things like that. And like Matt said, Snatcher is very much ties it together of hey, we're gonna present this spooky character that has a personality that isn't just actually scary. That is just he's gonna play around and trick you into basically giving up your soul in order to complete quests for him. And one specific area that is in this game that is actually scary and petrifying is the manor, which, speaking of Queen Vanessa, basically one of the quests asks you to kind of go into the manor, and I forget what the specific thing that you had to do. You gotta
get something from a chest in the attic.
Right, which ends up just being, I think, an hourglass.
Yeah.
But which hourglasses are the
collectible,
the Mario Star, yes, of this game. But that is it's such a scary part of the game because the gameplay kind of changes a bit in that it's very much more stealthy focused rather than platforming focused, and the game instead of having the usual camera that you're able to control, it's a fixed camera with tank controls a little bit, and it is petrifying because not only is it scary and just being in the environment and having Queen Vanessa slowly kind of search around the apartment for you, or the manor. It's a fucking manor, Jesus. But the screen and the music also changes as well, and it's the screeching orchestra, and that is occurring while the screen in front of you is just completely zoomed out. It is petrifying, and it all fits into the vibe of what Subcom Forest is. And I think that it's nice to have a character like Snatcher that's able to kind of playfully guide you through that story all the way up to the end, and still is a mainstay throughout the rest of the game, including in the DLC, where he basically gives you challenges to complete in specific areas that's very difficult. It's for people who really love challenges and stuff. So yeah, I love Snatcher. Anyone else have anything that they would like to add about Snatcher?
Youngtown.
Yeah. Yeah, that fucking the JonTron thing pisses me off because basically the earlier that year was when the controversy happened with JonTron, because he was a dick.
I thought that was just after.
No, it was before.
It was 2017.
Yeah, it was February 2017, and then in September or October is when the game released. So they kept him in the game. I didn't love that. Didn't love that choice, but beyond that, it's I think maybe they had to do it for contractual reasons or whatever the reasons was. Hopefully they never fucking work with JonTron again. But that was a disappointing thing to learn after the fact, because I played in 2019 after Matt recommended this game to me, so I wasn't necessarily around for the initial launch of this. But really wonderful game. It does the game doesn't get enough justice. I think I don't think it was super well received by critics. But I really think it's one of the better indie 3D platformers out there. It's really, really good. Yeah.
I loved the video that you provided for it, Matt, leading into your piece. So
Yeah,
I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was very entertaining, even not knowing anything about the game, not knowing anything about the character. I just was like, wow, this is very cool, very villainous, and you did a very good impression leading into your segment.
Thank you. I've got. I think we got like the in onset cold, so I didn't get my throat to do exactly what I wanted to do.
Oh well, you know what? We wouldn't have known either way. So you did a good one.
Cool.
Strikes me as like a kind of almost cute villain who's not really a villain. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean he gets on your side by the end.
Oh, okay.
I would say
After the boss
most of the characters in this game are like villains until they're not.
Yeah.
Most of them, I would say. But yeah. Let's move on here. Let's volley the ball back to Walsh.
Oh,
Because Walsh, you are going to talk about the Quarry monster. So the Quarry, it's a fun horror game that came out this year, and you want to tell us about basically the twist in it.
yeah, I want to talk about the monster. So there will be spoilers for the Quarry, because I think a way that a lot of the supermassive games go, I've only played Until Dawn, and I've only played the Quarry, and I'm not even done with the Quarry completely. So
Sure.
who knows? Maybe there's shit that I don't know. But until then, what I've noticed is that they like to play around. Ooh, what is the monster? And maybe there are a couple different supernatural entities going on. Maybe it was, the characters were pranking or messing with the other people. Because Until Dawn, it kind of plays like that. It's like, is there a ghost? Is there somebody who's kind of being like a serial killer who sets up these like weird games and things like that? No, it turns out that there's these monsters that are outside also as well. And the Quarry is no different. There is something going on supernaturally where this really isn't much of a spoiler, but even from the beginning, it's like, oh shit, there's just fucking ghosts. And there is, what's going on? There's these weird hunters that, are they trying to hunt people or whatever? But in actuality, the big monster of what is in the Quarry. Now, this is a question for you guys. How do you guys feel about werewolves?
I'm a fan.
Fan? Yeah. Both of those sentiments, yeah. Now, what if werewolves didn't look like werewolves?
Okay.
What if they weren't sexy? What if instead of transforming and you become covered in hair and you take on that wolf-like form, instead your body just fucking explodes in a just huge burst of blood, and your just large humanoid form comes from underneath your skin, and you are now covered in blood, and you just have longer ears and spiked teeth, and that's the werewolf.
That sounds a lot worse.
Yeah. So I just shared a GIF of what is essentially what the transformation looks like, where they just poof, explode, and then they become these humanoid, what I can only describe as just like, they look bald, they have these kind of piercing eyes, as well as just very sharp teeth. And I actually really like this monster. It comes in a weird place, but they are trying to survive the night, basically, and it's a full moon, and they really weren't supposed to be here, but, they're here now, so they have to survive and try to do stuff, and at the same time, some of the characters get infected. They start to turn into werewolves at the same time, and they have their own rules set up, as some of the characters learn, that, yes, full moon comes around, you turn. They can only be killed with silver-lined bullets or things that have silver. And if you are turned into a werewolf, the only way to cure yourself is to kill the werewolf that cursed you. But they have to be killed on a full moon. So you kind of have to rely on somebody else to kill them. And a lot of the werewolves look very similar after they have transformed. They kind of all take on this same shape and form to them. And at the same time, they're very quick. They can move on all fours. but they are extremely strong, and they're just fucking scary, man. At the same time, I enjoy this monster because it felt very different, and while it still had many of the same like hard rules as maybe the last monster from Supermassive Games, it felt very different. The thing that I want to actually compare it to a lot is the monster from Until Dawn. And the reason for that is I wasn't a big fan of the monster from Until Dawn, despite the fact that the monster, I want to say, looks really, really, really similar. So the monsters from Until Dawn, again, spoilers for Until Dawn, are Wendigos. And they look like these humanoid things right here. So nice and bald, maybe a little bit skinnier, but, sharp fingers, superhuman speed, superhuman strength. You shoot them with a bullet, it's really not going to hurt them. Regenerative abilities. The Wendigo only differs in terms of other hard rules. They are scared of fire. Or fire is the only way to kind of hurt them and kill them. And you turn into a Wendigo not when one bites you or one infects you, but because the ground itself around this area on this mountain is cursed. If you are starving and you fall to cannibalism and you try to eat other people and you do so while on the mountain, you will turn into a Wendigo. And this happened after there was this huge mine that collapsed, leaving a bunch of people trapped, and then they were forced to eventually try to eat one another, and then they turned into Wendigos. And then there was another accident later on where it turns out now one of the other characters that you knew way earlier in the story turned into a Wendigo, stuff like that. But I didn't really like them because it just felt like these weird, very overpowered, skinny people that were just jumping around and slicing things instantly. Like, they just jump from one side to another and then shoot, somebody's head is cut off. And I'm like, that feels a little silly. At least to me. Or there's this big climactic battle at the end and two of them are like wrestling one another. And it's just weird to see these, I guess what should be very weak looking things or very gangly looking things supposedly have like superhuman strength and speed and kind of jumping around. While, and I think it was also just the pale skin too, felt very weird. While the werewolves themselves, while darker and still very gross to me, they have still that like blood and sinew on themselves, especially if it's right after transforming. They're extremely strong and very fast, and their claws are also very sharp, but they're not doing these like super incredible things. They can't swim. There's certain rules as to how to kill it, things like that. But it feels, I don't know, I think just the way that they have utilized it feels so much better. And so despite people being like, this is just a ripoff of the Wendigo, it has different rules, and I think that they have taken what they had and then just tweaked it to be a lot better.
Yeah, well, you applied it in a different way that kind of makes a little bit more sense.
I also wanted to play, too, with the, sexy monsters, and it's like, if I said I was doing a werewolf, it would be over. We'd all be over. But I wanted to surprise you guys with like, werewolf. And it's like, ew. That's
Not quite.
That's not a werewolf! Who is that?
A little slimier.
Yeah, very slimy. But yeah, just very, very scary. Ooh. Still, even knowing those spoilers, you should definitely play both of those games. They're a lot of fun. And yeah, it's been very interesting, especially as characters start to turn. Depending on how you react can decide whether or not some live or die. They're trying to figure out which werewolf to kill in order to cure their friend that is now out also trying to kill them. And yeah.
Yeah, that's... It is definitely another one of those things where I look at it and I'm like, nope, thank you. But Supermassive, I know that Anthony and Kelsey have had experience with at least the Dark Pictures anthology.
Yes. We played Man of Medan, and it was pretty good. we started to play. It's called like From the Ashes or Little Hope or something, and we got like an hour into it, and we were like, "Oh my goodness, we're so bored."
I just don't find them scary. I just
Yeah.
don't. It's just they're not. I don't like them. I don't find them scary. I don't find the Wendigo looks silly to me. I'm sure if you're playing, like in playing it, like even the werewolf to me looks dumb. I don't think, but I also don't think werewolf things are scary. I don't. That's just not my cup of tea as far as like what I'm afraid of. So.
No, I completely agree. The Wendigo did feel very silly. It definitely worked. The Wendigo works best when you cannot see what it looks like. And it's like, oh shit, what was that? Somebody gets grabbed and then like pulled out through the window. And it's like, huh? What the fuck was that? But then, yeah, it feels silly when they're out in the daylight and they just slice somebody's head off in like one move. And it's like, what the fuck was that? Very silly to me. The werewolf at least seemed like, okay, there are stakes with the characters here. And even the characters themselves can feel very silly in these games. At least in the first one, the characters seemed a bit... The characters were kind of silly, you know, maybe a bit vain in a lot of places, but, you know, you get connected to certain ones. But then it sucks if maybe one character... Let's say you have characters A, B, C, and D, and then you have earlier in the game, you play A and B, and then you play C and D, and they're together for certain scenes. C and A are supposed to be in a later scene, but because you let C die, you just completely lose that scene with A. Whatever gameplay that might have been there. And it's like, oh, I liked A, you know? But the werewolf stuff has been very interesting, and it hasn't been just, oh shit, werewolves. It's been... Okay, that is also going on, but there are also actual people trying to kill us. There's also ghosts going on. Maybe that's connected to how the curse started. And there's this whole, I guess even more spoilers, there's a whole family of people, or family of werewolves, that try to keep it a big secret and try not to, you know, try to keep their own family safe. So I like that character-to-character drama. Of course, you have, like, the two kids like, oh, I like you too, and then one got bit, and it's like, what's going on? And it's like, I'm mad now. It's like, you're acting like an asshole, and it's like, get away from me, you know?
I like that, like, the one character is transformed, and the other one's like, you're an asshole!
Well, they do start to act like a huge asshole, and it's like, what's wrong with you?
Sure.
Like, nothing, get away from me.
Yeah. That definitely, like, supermassive games, I think, in general are definitely not my cup of tea, but I know a lot of people love it. And they've been doing both these bigger AAA, big time, like, choice based horror games with, like, both of them giving, like, very much like summer camp vibes. I think the Quarry is literally a summer camp.
Yes, literally a summer camp. Yes, the other one, Until Dawn, is like a fucking cabin in the woods, like
right
on a snowy mountain.
Yeah, and then the other, and then, like I was mentioning with Dark Pictures, that's been like their annual series, and the fourth entry is supposed to come out in a couple of weeks actually, so. Yeah, they're definitely known for those narrative focused horror games, and again, people enjoy them, so they seem like they do a good job with them.
Honestly,
wild.
I'm not even there for like, oh, I love the story. I'm just like, I like making choices and then like seeing if I can like, get the best possible outcome. You know, I gotta protect 100%. Brenda Song. That's
like
really
Quantic Dream games, right? Like Heavy Rain and Detroit Become Human, like all those. Like they're fun because you get to kind of see different branches of the storyline.
Yeah, and of course some characters can be a bit silly. Out of this like 9 fucking like main characters, and I probably only like 2 of them. Some of them are a little bit like okay, and then some of them are like okay, just fucking like shut up, just do shit. I don't know, but I still think it's very much worth the experience of playing the werewolves. I really do truly feel like the werewolves are definitely a step up from the Wendigos, despite maybe how they visually look very similar. But
sure,
yeah, fucking go for it. A lot of fun.
Well, we kept him waiting long enough, but one major reason why I wanted to do this episode of Scary Characters specifically, was to get Gabe to talk about Five Nights at Freddy's character. And specifically, Gabe, you're going to talk to us about Springtrap. Talk to me about them.
Okay, so, Springtrap, this is what he looks like. Springtrap himself requires a bit of backstory to to fully explain why he looks the way he does.
Almost like he smells bad.
We'll get to that.
Okay.
So, in the lore of Five Nights at Freddy's, I'm counting everything past Pizzeria Simulator as non-canon because that fucking blows. But everything pre is what I consider the definitive story, because that's where everything it concludes in it wraps everything up in a nice little bow. But okay, so Springtrap is he was a man, an English robotics engineer by the name of William Afton, and he develops animatronics for entertainment, and he had a business partner named Henry Emily, and they worked together to build and foster what would eventually become Fazbear Entertainment. And their first endeavor into the robotic entertainment business was a small little diner called Fredbear's Family Diner, where there were two main animatronics on for show. One was Fredbear, and the other was Spring Bonnie. Spring Bonnie and Fredbear are specially designed animatronics in that you can actually wear them, but to do that you need to shut them down and tightly wind up spring locks, and those spring locks keep all the animatronic devices and such bound to the inner walls of the suit, so that it can be easily worn and walked around in, and so you can perform for children that's like off stage, so you can like just play the part of the animatronic characters. The reason why that's important is because Spring Bonnie was pretty much the reason behind the events of the games in general, because William Afton, besides being a robotics engineer, is also a child murderer.
Oh, wonderful.
So
I like that you just dropped that and giggled.
yeah, it's. I'll continue.
That's fine.
Don't put him on the spot.
So, he uses the Spring Bonnie animatronic suit to lure children away from their parents and family and whatever, to kill them, basically, or just to do what it is he does to eventually murder them. And he then disposes of the bodies and does it in such a way that he can perform different experiments with the dead bodies. So over time, Fredbear's Family Diner eventually gets a quote unquote bad publicity, as the games put it. So because of these several incidents involving missing children, and at this point there are 5 missing children. Fredbear's closes down and eventually is rebranded to Fazbear Entertainment. Fazbear Entertainment makes 4 new animatronic characters: Freddy the
Fish? No, sorry. Continue. Sorry. No, I just said Freddy the Fish. I was just joking. Go ahead.
I meant to say Freddy Fazbear and Freddy the Bear at the same time. And I'm so sorry.
No, you're totally fine. I was being a dick by
I'm a
jumping
fake
in.
fan. Anyway, Freddy Fazbear, Foxy the Pirate Fox, Chica the Chicken, and then Bonnie the Bunny. Those became the figureheads of the franchise. But the missing children's incident kept going, and over time, William Afton had a body count, and he was never caught. And the game doesn't explain how or why he wasn't caught. It's just he was never caught until one fateful night where the souls of the dead children attack him. And another detail that happens is he disposes of the bodies by putting them inside the animatronic suits, so because no one looks at them or whatever, and their souls eventually become bound to the animatronics themselves. Then with the souls binding to the robots, they eventually can come to life at night, and they just do as dead children's souls do and haunt the fuck out of the place. And William Afton takes notice of this, and he decides to end it. So he takes apart all of their suits, and the souls are freed from the robots. The souls attack him, and he figures the only way I can get them to leave is if I put on the Spring Bonnie suit. So he does, and it works at first, and this is all shown through cutscenes. And but unfortunately for the kids, the spring locks snap, and they end up killing him. And his body is left in the disrepaired location for about 30 years as he dies and decomposes and stuff, until his body is rediscovered and is put into I don't know how to call this without it being like bad. It's like, according to the wiki, it says it's an homage to the missing children's incident.
Oh, I see.
So, Springtrap is eventually found and put in this new establishment, and he is able to roam freely, because his soul is bound to the animatronic suit as the dead children's were. So he is able to haunt the place until the events of the third game happen, and then the rest is up for the fans to debate on whether the timeline is correct or not, depending on the game. But so that's why he looks the way he does. It's his dead body inside of a rotting suit that is 30 years old. So that's why he looks the way he does. And the reason why I find him so effective, outside of the frankly silly backstory, there's nothing silly about child murder, but I'm like, with the events of the game being so
just
hammy,
a goofy,
and, like, just firing on all cylinders.
Sure.
I think its design is very effective for what it's trying to do. It's trying to convey that this is a dead body haunting a rotting, ages old animatronic suit who is able to come to life. And there is so many fans that want to see him in other types of media. One of the biggest campaigns of this was for him being in Dead by Daylight, which is really interesting, because someone made an entire campaign trying to rally for this, and it's gotten so much notoriety. And like, Springtrap is considered one of the most iconic characters from the franchise because of how effective he is, both in story and plot, and just overall design, because it's not overly complex. It's not like overly horrific. It's just, I feel like it's more subdued in terms of like what's in terms of like body horror, I guess, because as you can see through some of the details, you can see like some of his insides throughout the holes of the suit and stuff, mainly his fucking ankle guts. Which is even sillier part,
his
because
fucking ankle guts.
Just
Nice.
look at the picture. He has
No,
ankle
I
guts.
know. No, I yeah. You're right. So
Listen,
like
he's
by
been rotten for a
for
while,
all
so that-
purposes of what I said earlier, we can all just conclude that he probably does smell really bad.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Specifically the ankle part.
Yeah.
Yes, specifically his ankles.
The ankle guts.
Well, he's been rotting for a while. All his guts fell down to his ankles.
I guess in terms of like him as a whole, I find him fascinating as like a character study because I did the story no justice, trying to just make it as abridged as possible because the story leading up to the events of the third game is actually pretty interesting. Granted, it's kind of difficult to get into if you don't like sit and survive type of games where you are stuck in one place and you have to manage your power or manage all kinds of things to get yourself to survive to a specific point in time. But just look at YouTube Let's Plays or whatever if you're ever interested in that kind of thing because there's endless amounts of content surrounding this game's story and pretty much the story of the franchise as a whole. So Springtrap is my personal favorite animatronic design. And I can just gush about like why I like his design so much for like hours, but I will not for the sake of your guys' ears.
No, I love it though. You're the biggest FNAF fan that I know personally. But I just know that it's been such a such a polarizing series over the years.
Absolutely.
And obviously and of course, you know, like the guy who created it, like all the, like his political leanings and all that controversy bullshit, like putting that aside, like it's just one of those games that like I think on the surface if you go into it, you just know that it's a game with scary animatronics who are going to come out and jump out at you while you're managing the security cams, and how it's just meant to be like a game that is just full of jump scares and doesn't really have much depth. That's on surface level. But then the people who really play it though and see it as for what it is just like, oh, there's actually some really good deep lore here that's really fucked up but also really interesting. And yeah, this I actually like from as someone who's fucking knows nothing about Five Nights at Freddy's, I always thought that Freddy was the one who was doing all the bad, but I guess it turns out that the rabbit was the evil, the true source of the evil this whole time.
And that's what a lot of people think too. It's like people just assume that the face of the franchise is the culprit. No, it's really the one that's been behind the scenes on the entire time. And you don't really know of William Afton's existence until the second game. You just hear like rumblings or like rumors from the starting in the first game of like there has been an incident involving child murder. No one knows who it is. No one knows why they did it or what their motive was until the second game, and that's when they started giving us lore drops and stuff about who was the one that did this and like just was it out of sheer curiosity or was it for like some kind of studying or whatever. It just puts that stuff in your mind, and then it gets to the third game where he is finally introduced. Granted, you can't see William Afton as he was, but you can see him what he is now, and he is a shell of his former self.
Like, you know, he's wearing a shell.
Yes,
that's for sure. Anyone else have thoughts on Springtrap?
None. Just fucking Springtrap's great.
My personal headcanon, now that I've heard the story, is that at night he roams the halls and goes, "These fucking kids."
Oh my god.
I can't, man. That you could probably like force me to play a few hours of like a Resident Evil game.
Somebody write down. Record. What minute is it?
Or
it's at on mine it's a minute 57.
Or you could probably make me play like a few other horror games. There would have to be a lofty check to make me pick up Five Nights at Freddy's.
All right, never mind.
Because
what's the bigger check, Five Nights at Freddy's or Final Fantasy?
Oh, Five Nights at Freddy's. Wow,
Really?
Why? Okay,
yeah.
wait. Now we're taking a minute to talk about this. Why?
Well,
What
I
is
don't
it,
want to
like animatronics are like a thing for you?
Well, like, okay, I didn't really want to go into details here. But,
Sorry,
like,
you started it.
No, it's fair. It's fair. I grew up. Here's the abridged story. I had we had a family friend who was that was decided to pull a little bit of a prank during a Halloween party, and
I don't even think it was intended as a prank, though. I think it was just
I don't
the
even know.
costume they decided to put on.
I was so young, so the details are lost on me. But he puts on a gorilla suit, and all I remember was someone I was either in like either mom or dad's, like they were holding me, or I was just in the basement just hanging out.
We were hanging out in the basement. That was part of their house that we hung out in.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden he comes down the stairs and like screams from the gorilla suit, and I was fucking traumatized. And ever since that, to this day, I still have dreams about a gorilla charging me. Oh. So that's why the Fiddlesticks freaks me out in the way that it did in the video, because that's basically, especially with like the way that dreams are and nothing seems real and like it's weird, that the flailing arms almost coming at you like that's why that freaks me out. And animatronics abso-fucking-lutely freak me the fuck out on that front.
I'm also gonna guess that you don't like that video of Gorilla Glue commercials where they cut immediately after Gorilla shows up.
I actually, well, it does give me a little bit of fight or flight, but it's not. That's not as bad because it's not like it's like a huge gorilla jump scare.
So
yeah.
So to be clear, Christopher was a young boy. Like we're talking like
no, I know.
Maybe young, a preschooler. Yeah. This friend of the family that was a friend at the time is like 6 foot tall, if not a little bit taller. And this was like this had to have either been something that he got from a friend, rented, or bought, but it had to be a gorilla suit that was worth like hundreds of dollars, even at the time. Like this was a full-bodied, like legitimate-looking gorilla suit that I think with a joke was just, it wasn't even a joke. It was just like, oh, look at this really cool suit. I'm going to like play with the kids. And it literally is like something that traumatized Chris as a child. I did not link that to the animatronics thing, but it makes sense. So I did not. I apologize for putting you on the spot.
No, it's fine.
I know that it is something you were like actually traumatized by. I did not make the connection that was the connection. So
it's I guess it's a gorilla phobia, but like honestly, if I went to the zoo and like saw a gorilla, I don't think probably, again, maybe a little bit fight or flight, but I would probably be fine because I know that gorillas in general are like very like beautiful creatures and are awesome, generally like really, really cool. But that moment changed my life forever. Thanks, Mike.
Fuck you, Mike.
Well, I'll be honest too. I hate animatronics. Anything from like Chuck E. Cheese to like walking into like a Stu Leonard's. There's something about like this, even just like without the dead bodies in them. There's something about the smell of them,
like the typical thing that you deal with dead bodies.
It absolutely kills me that Stu Leonard's is even like has that. And like, is Stu Leonard's a national thing or is that a specifically New York, Long Island thing?
I have no clue. I have not seen it out here in California.
Does not
I'm
sound
pretty sure it is like a
national
specifically Long Island thing. This weird guy that's like I don't think that anybody else really knows who Stu Leonard is.
This is Stu Leonard's here.
It's
He's
Stu
selling
Leonard's.
you apples.
You're gonna come for my filet mignons this weekend, and don't forget to add the lobster. God bless America. We're thinking about you guys. Can I tell you? Wait, can we just before this is no relevance, but can I tell my favorite Stu Leonard fact?
Sure.
This is actually not okay. So I need to clarify. Okay, this is gonna be bad now because I said that it's my favorite fact, but I realize that
exactly what this is
I'm
going
walking
to.
myself into. Yes, it's about Ducky. I'm walking myself into like a weird area. So, Stu Leonard's is, as Walsh was saying, is a food chain store on Long Island, a supermarket, like a grocery market. Stu Leonard is a real man who owns this chain of supermarkets. Now the more that I talk about it, it's not funny. Like, it's not my favorite fact because it's funny. It's just bizarre. but also very sad. So now I feel like an asshole. But so the store is, as Walsh said, there are actual animatronics in the store, and like depending on what happens in the store, all of a sudden you'll hear like through the intercoms mooing because somebody set off like the cow in the cheese department or whatever.
Pressed like a button or something.
Yeah, like, or there's like just like sharks hanging from like the ceiling, and like I don't know, like it's just.
To be fair, I have never been inside Stu
You've
Leonard's.
never been inside.
This is wild to me.
Okay, no. So
No.
it's like legitimate. There are legitimate animatronics around, as well as like other bizarre things. But they have like an ice cream shop in the middle of it. It's just a very quirky place, but it's meant to be like a very family friendly centric place, right?
Sure.
So this is just gonna make me sound like an asshole because it took me a while to understand what the true story was behind this, but so Stu Leonard on our local radio stations, there are specific stations that he has like an hourly spot for his advertisements. But over the summer, there's always an advertisement, and when I was just doing the Stu Leonard voice, that is like no joke what he sounds like. He's typical New York, big loud mouth, like, "Oh, come down to get the steaks and the buns for your barbecue this weekend." He sounds almost like a car salesman, but he's a grocery store guy, and he's usually very fun. There's usually music playing in the background, but then over the summer, there's always an ad that plays that he comes on the radio and he's like, "Hey guys, it's Stu Leonard." And you're like, what is wrong with Stu Leonard? And he starts talking about this story about how, and this is where, this isn't funny, but I'm going to start laughing because I'm awkward. So he comes on, he starts telling the story about how they have children, him and his wife. There was an incident where both he and his wife thought that they were both watching their young son, and it turned out that that wasn't the case, and an accident happened where their son drowned in the family pool. That is not what is funny or anything about this story. That is very tragic. What is funny is the absolute juxtaposition of him usually being the clown steak man on the radio and then coming on and being very audibly sad and disrupted and upset to tell you about their water safety programs that they've enacted without the funding that they put behind them. The juxtaposition is very bizarre when you don't know what the story is behind it. But then I found out that in the supermarkets, when you walk in the door, if you look down at any of the supermarkets, there are duck prints on the ground in their supermarket, and if you follow them, it will take you through the store to a point at which you can get documentation and information about their water safety programs. I had no idea this existed, but it's just very weird, and now I've stopped and nobody's laughing and it's not funny, and I don't know why I started telling this story, but it's just very weird. It's a very weird grocery store that is like Long Island specific, but it's a fever dream is what I'm trying to say.
It is.
To tell anybody about it.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
I
You
I
can
just
cut
figured-
this entire thing if you'd like when you go to edit, because I was just
No, you know what? I mean, well, if you don't want me to keep it in, I'll take it
No,
out.
it's fine.
but
I just the animatronics part is really weird, and then the whole like Stu Leonard all of a sudden coming on the radio like only in the summer, going, "Hey guys, it's Stu Leonard. I'm here to remind you about my family tragedy again. And by the way, it's half off lobster this week." Like it's just weird. It's just a weird.
I will admit I remember the exact commercial you're talking about, and then it's like, "Hey, it's me, Stu Leonard. Well, of Stu Leonard's." Now listen, listen.
It is. It's like that.
Yeah.
This is very serious. I need you to listen to me. Like he's telling you a prophecy. It's just it's a lot.
Well, that's Springtrap.
Oh, wait, Gabe, before we go on from Springtrap, what's your opinion on Grandpa Willie?
Oh my god, don't even get me started on that. Paul Willie Afton.
Paul
Willie Afton?
Can I give the context for this one?
Yes, go ahead.
So there are many games in the FNAF series, and even past, Pizza Simulator, even up to those ones, and they're like, Springtrap, he's still kicking, and he's like, "I always come back," and it's like, so a lot of the fans have very much taken on this persona of either he's like, ooh, he's scary, but at the same time he's like, I'm hooked up to like a ventilator and fear me.
He's just a fucking decrepit old man.
Wow.
And that especially took off when Security Breach came out, because he's back again, and like him with Vanny, she's like either his granddaughter or whatever, his caretaker, fucking wheeling him on a wheelchair.
All right, great grandpa Willie, let's get you out of here.
God. Well, we've learned about Five Nights at Freddy's lore and Stu Leonard's lore.
Stu Leonard's lore. I'm so sorry.
Five Nights at Freddy's. That's where I want to be. Here, I can tie it back to the beginning of the show. Have you guys seen that video of Jack Black singing that song?
Yes.
Oh my God, no.
Five Nights at Freddy's.
Five Nights at Freddy's. That's where I want to be.
Do you not like that game?
No, it's just. Oh my God.
I love it. Anyways, that's gonna do it for us.
Wow.
On our scary characters. But next month we're gonna talk art style again.
Yay!
So your favorite games that have a cute, cool, whatever kind of art style that you enjoy, bring it to the table. We're gonna talk about that. Send us tweet us at the Gaming Coop if you have either a scary character that you want to talk about or an art style game you want to talk about. We may shout you out on the show. No one's taking me up on that offer, but I'm gonna keep on doing it because it's content, baby. Anyways, thank you all once again for listening. Game on. The Gaming Coop is brought to you by Team Chaos Productions. Follow us on Twitter at The Gaming Coop or follow our other work at Team Chaos Pods.